Morning, Jared here, Next Developments. Just doing a quick update on the unit development site that we have just bought. So that's the house, and I'll walk down the side and have a bit of a chat as we go. So did a bunch of sort of preliminary FISO type stuff, checked out all the concepts about what we could do, absolutely hammered the FISO right down into every little detail. Had a mate of mine who's done this very similar development, not quite as much building, but very similar development. He's done it 2 times. He's just about to set up his third. And I had him just go through my FISO repeatedly as well. Sat down and reviewed it with him, sat down and reviewed it with another mate who's got experience in this sort of stuff too. Because we're basically moving into a bit of a new element here. The subdivision stuff and around the titles and the civil work, I'm all pretty good on these days. I know my way around that. But this new construction, putting building in amongst it is an interesting sort of deal, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I approached my normal architect, my sort of favourite architect. I haven't done any work with them, but they're the guys who I kind of think of when around here, and they've certainly done some work around in this area. And I approached them and sort of said, what do you think? And they came back with this bit of concept and a bit of a rough FISO, just, some numbers that because they know this stuff really well, they do it all the time. And they came back and I kind of went, well, that's not quite where we're going. I'm thinking we really want to go sort of this direction and we want to, change it like that. And they're like, yeah, I can see where you're going. All right, no worries. If you want to come and talk to us, come talk to us. Now, unfortunately, I work out of town a lot of days, and if I can't do it by email or phone, it's a bit hard for me to really kind of manage a lot. So, there's a bit of back and forth there. But I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, what you're describing sounds like a development over in a high end of town. So I checked that out. It's high-end stuff. It's like $500,000, and I know by Sydney standards or Melbourne standards, that's actually not that much. But down here, that's pretty substantial. And they're little 3-bedroom sort of townhousey things. And I looked at it and I went, yeah, the design on this is exactly where we're going. So I had rang the architect, got his PA. She's like, yeah, he can come out and meet you. 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. We're here on site. And he's like, so what do you want to build? And I'm like, well, it's going to be small, it's going to be compact, minimal square meters, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and modern. And he's like, oh, music to my ears. Apparently he's always trying to talk his customers into slightly smaller spaces and being less over the top. And for us to kind of start in that position, anyway, he spent the weekend thinking about it, did a couple of rough sketches just by hand, no digital work at all. He took a couple of quick pictures of them and chucked them on an email to me. And it was just fantastic. Like, really, really cool design. The bedrooms fit together really well. Everything, all the logistics of it work really well. And he was very, very quick to kind of pick the constraints that were actually going to feed into his design. So around private open space, around appropriate amounts of parking, visitor parking. We have to have a certain amount of outdoor drying space and a certain amount of storage. All this stuff's kind of in the planning scheme these days, and they're getting pretty picky about having it all in there. So he just complied on everything, and his design's fantastic. It gets 4 of them really nice, and I showed them to an agent who's pretty cluey in this market, and her response was, well, look, if she got anything under 300 each, she'd be shocked. And so when you're looking at that kind of return, I mean, my FISO definitely doesn't go that high in the numbers. I'm more thinking around the 270s mark per townhouse as a sale price, but you've got to be conservative. You've got to build the buffers in where you can, and everything else I've got is fairly conservative too. So if you bring all those conservative things together and you bring a very conservative sale price together and you're still making money on paper and you've got everything out and you've talked to all of the people, like I've got a civil guy who just looks at stuff for me. I've got a surveyor who looks at stuff for me. I've got a planner now who we're using for work, and because I've got relationships with these people, I get their input for free, but then I hire them for the project. Like, they know what I'm like. So, I'm fairly confident on these numbers. The only sort of, variable here is the square meter rate on the build, especially considering the sort of standard we'll be building to and that sort of thing. But I've kind of gone conservative on that too. I know a mate who's building to a similar standard as what we've proposed here, and he's building for almost $200 a square meter less than I've that's right, less than I've put in my FISO. So if he's got $200 a square metre off and he's building about the same rate as us, same sort of standard as us, we should be fine. Yeah, anyway, so it's looking pretty good. Contracts go semi-unconditional today. There's just one condition left. Not one that's really important to us or not going to be a big deal. So yeah, we're basically moving ahead on this. We'll be cruising through the DA stage and just, keeping everyone happy. The neighbours are really good. They're just happy to have something good going on next door instead of a bit of a derelict backyard. Interesting story. There used to be a racehorse that lived in this backyard. It's a suburban backyard in suburbia, West Launceston, and the tenant in this rental property kept her racehorse in the backyard. So they're happy with anything that isn't a racehorse. So that's a good place to start from. Anyway, have a good Easter, people. I'll be working through it a little bit, spending a bit of time with family. I'm going up the north to check out a little tiny house that's starting to be built in Tasmania. And so, yeah, it'll be exciting. I'll probably do a film for that too. Cheers.